retirement planning, investment planning, education planning, ad valorem, blah, 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 blah. Financial planners love to show their version of a perfect retirement, but what about your perfect retirement? At AmFirst Financial, we'll get to know you first, so we can make a plan for the person you'll be years from now, and future you will be glad we planned ahead. So call AmFirst Financial today. You'll thank you later.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Alabama. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the AHSAA.
All right, let's check out the first half. Again, here is Oxford. They actually came out on that first drive, Coach, and moved the ball.
They did. They threw the ball very well and moved the ball up and down the field, but it was just tough just to get down to it. But Auburn played such great defense, and they're very methodical with their plays, and you could tell that a lot of practice has paid off today for Auburn.
There's that first big touchdown. Soraya Daniels taking the short pass, going 70 yards to give Auburn an early lead. Soraya's dad, people remember Marquise Daniels, a great basketball player here at Auburn University. Clearly, the apple didn't fall far from the tree.
No doubt. It's in the blood, and it was showing today, and she really performed well. And, you know, I think what happened is it was contagious because it passed off to other players, and they really did a great job of really keeping that momentum going, and they executed very well today.
Yeah, you see Auburn quarterback Brooke Hallman. She had 4 touchdown passes on the day. Auburn jumped out. They were up 13-0 after the first quarter, 26-0 at halftime, and there was really no catching them from there. But as you said, it was great to see that Oxford never rolled over, never gave up, and they battled back and they got on the board late. And you got to feel good for them that they did get that touchdown.
That's exactly right. Their defense was relentless, and they just kept pouring it on. Look at that. That takes work. These girls really performed today on this field, and some of the things they did is something that you will see throughout the Super 7. But this was a great kickoff for what's to come.
It really was. And there is the Oxford touchdown, again, as they kept battling all the way to the end, but not quite enough for the home team. And there you see the Tigers celebrating. Auburn winning the girls' flag championship 26-6. Just the second flag championship in the history of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. And you got to love the opportunity that flag football has provided for so many young ladies across this state. And it was very interesting to hear Christiana Ware from Auburn after the game say she played basketball, but she needed something else to do. She needed another sport to play, and flag football was perfect for her.
Exactly. Now it's all inclusive. You know, you can, not just males, but females can now take part in it, and that's big. That's big. That's from little leagues all the way up. Now, you know, they are being watched from little ones, and but flag football is for all now.
But congratulations to Thompson, and let's take a look at the highlights from tonight's 7A state championship game. And again, that defensive front from Thompson really set the tone early. The Warriors came out, they had good field position, they were able to run the ball. And then this 8th grade quarterback, Trent Seaborn, just threw dime after dime after dime. And particularly to number 6, Corbin Williams, who had an amazing game in his final game with the Warriors. A little pressure there from Auburn. They made a run, as you knew they would, in the second quarter. They came back. Great throw from their senior quarterback right there as Auburn drives to score. And all of a sudden, we might have a game on our hands. And then a 46-yard field goal to cut the Thompson lead to 21-10. And all of a sudden, the home crowd, the locals, the Auburn, they're in full throat. They sense a comeback. And then Seaborn to Williams, 46 yards. And then on repeat, Seaborn to Williams, touchdown, Thompson, and more separation, 28-10 at the half. And then the first snap of the third quarter, Arrington Green takes it to the sideline and then takes it to the house. 80 yards, touchdown, Thompson again. And at that point, the route was on. And you had, again, that defensive front led by Peter Woods, the senior, who has been a stalwart, one of the best players in this state, one of the best high school players in the country. The Thompson defense was sharp. The Thompson offense was sharp. There he is, that man again, Corbin Williams. And we would not have a repeat of that amazing 7A final from 2 years ago in Tuscaloosa when Thompson had to score 10 points in the final 18 seconds to stun Auburn and the rest of the free world. No comeback tonight. No major miracles necessary. Just a thorough performance from the Thompson Warriors. About as good as it gets in a game of this magnitude between two teams this good. That's as good a performance as you will see from Thompson. And you could sense the emotion afterwards in the post-game press conference from Coach Mark Freeman, what it meant to him for his team to start 0-2. This is a program that's not used to losing since Mark Freeman got there. To start 0-2 against very good competition out of state, Buford, Georgia, Lipscomb Academy in Tennessee, coached by Trent Dilfer, by the way, who was named today as the UAB head coach. That's a tough way to start a season. And a lesser team made up of lesser young men might not have built on that or learned from that. But that's not Thompson. That's not that program. And that's why tonight was their fourth straight state championship. Their fourth straight 7A state championship, which is an incredible accomplishment when you understand the quality of football in this state. When you talk about Hoover, you talk about Auburn, you talk about Central Phoenix City, and I could go on and on. For Thompson to win 4 straight is an incredible accomplishment. There's a lot of living here today at Jordan-Hare Stadium. We started with the 3A state championship game between St. James and Piedmont. Piedmont had won 2 of the last 3 3A state championships, and that is St. James. KJ Jackson gunslinging early, but an early turnover, Piedmont with the interception. And then Jack Hayes, who holds one career state record after another, doing Jack Hayes things. He holds about 4 different career records formerly held by people like Jamarcus Russell, the former #1 pick in the NFL draft. Wow. Piedmont is one of those communities, yes, Jack, that you're talking about. And there goes Jack Hayes again. He doesn't just make it difficult to tackle. He hurts you. He punishes tacklers and finds the end zone again and again and again. And again, another turnover, interception. Piedmont picking that one off. And that was young Mr. Probst. Made a couple of really strong catches with a cast on his hand. I don't know if you noticed that. That tells you what it means to these guys to be here, and they're going to overcome as much adversity as they can. That's another one of his incredible catches on the day for Piedmont. And that was a controversial call. Went to replay. They ruled it a touchdown. And there's Cosmer Harrison for St. James getting in the end zone. Piedmont took control early, Jack, and it looked like they were headed towards another state championship.
I thought the game was going to get out of hand.
And then came the second half. On the second half kickoff, St. James recovers a fumble, and it was almost as if that was the first pebble in the avalanche, and it was the KJ Jackson show from there.
He's an impressive quarterback.
He is just a junior. Coach Jimmy Perry called him statuesque, which is a pretty good description. He's a really strong pocket passer, just dropping dimes. That throw right there, if that is a second slower or behind, that gets picked off or batted down. Instead, it's a touchdown. And the onslaught was on. Again, KJ Jackson for the day ended up with 351 passing yards and 5 touchdowns to lead St. James to its very first state championship.
A lot of happy folks in Montgomery.
Yes, absolutely. Coach Jimmy Perry worked on Tommy Tuberville's staff here at Auburn for years. He was a successful high school coach before that, and he has gone back to the high school ranks. And St. James is very glad that he did.
He reminds me a lot of another Montgomery quarterback, Jeremy Johnson, that played at Auburn. A lot of similarities between the two.
Very good comparison. And KJ, again, just a junior. I imagine he will have plenty of opportunities to play college football after next year. Again, good defense there from St. James. And this may have been his most impressive throw. On the run, on the roll, falling backwards, hitting his receiver in stride, diving to the pylon. Touchdown, St. James. And after going 17-1 in his first 18 games as a starter in state playoff games, Jack Hayes finally gets beaten by just an incredible performance. And there you see the ice water bath, Coach Jimmy Perry. He said it only took him 43 years to get one of those blue maps. He was so excited about that. Again, those moments, you can't replace them, you can't replicate them, and you will remember them forever.
And he talked about 43 years to get here.
Yes.
It means something.
It really, really does.
It's not just in the SEC, it means more.
No, it means the most at this level. All right, let's look at the Class 1A state championship game. And we got to remind everyone, because I had to look it up. I'd never been to Leroy, Alabama, 60 miles north of Mobile, Washington County. They wear the Pittsburgh Steelers black and gold. They're called the Bears. They play incredible defense, but they also know how to move the ball on offense.
And they've had
great counter right here, Jack.
They've had some very good athletes come out of Leroy. A receiver that's played in the NFL, and
Clint Mosley played quarterback here at Auburn. The most impressive player in this game was the Leroy quarterback, Braden Eubner. To me, he looked like a pocket Johnny Manziel. I want to call him Johnny Football. I saw Johnny Manziel put up 60 points on Auburn here in his Heisman Trophy campaign. Well, that's a really big interception right there. Safety coming across and then almost taking it back for a pick six. And then there goes Braden Eubner walking in for one of his touchdowns. He ran for 270 yards, that young man. He looks like a popsicle stick, like you could break him if you leaned on him too hard, but you can't catch him. And they're not going to catch him. He runs away from DBs. That guy had the angle. That man had the angle, but we're going to see a highlight in a moment in which they don't run him down because he has incredible getaway speed. And here comes Pickens County. Pickens County had made a history of coming back this season. In fact, in their semifinal game, they scored the winning touchdown, a Hail Mary on the final play to get here. Coached by Michael Williams, former Alabama tight end. He'd won 2 national championships at Alabama and a Super Bowl with the Patriots, and got his team to the state championship game for the second time.
Here was a big. I thought that was really what sealed the deal for
that was a turning point. And then right after that, there goes that man, Braden Eubner, to the house.
271 yards, and he's not even the leading ground gainer tonight.
I laugh because it's almost so preposterous. But it was great to see Pickens County did not roll over. They continued to compete. They got on the board. They tried to stage one of those incredible comebacks. Beautiful pass right there for the 2-point conversion from the Tornadoes. But here comes the Leroy defense. That's what they're known for at Leroy, is their defense. They threw 4 shutouts this year.
I think they only gave up 17 touchdowns all year.
It's a pretty strong performance, pretty strong record. And there you see again the celebration. Leroy winning over Pickens County 42-20. Coach Massey had been there for 4 previous state championships as an assistant, and he gets his first blue map as a head coach.
And almost identical score to the final game, 42-20 and 41-20.
270 yards rushing, as you said, and not the best rushing performance of the day.
Those 2 guys combined for 550 yards on the ground.
Braden Eubner himself, in the last 2 games in the state semifinal win, and this championship game win ran for over 500 yards in those two games combined. So that's what when you know you step up. People say great players make great plays at big moments. Well, he did it again and again and again today.
It's exciting to watch. Like watching a pinball.
Yes, and he was fun. He was fun to watch. Again, he reminded me very much of Johnny Manziel. You think he's not as fast as he is, but he runs away from you. You think he's not as durable as he is, and it was funny. Coach Massey afterwards says, "Listen, I'm telling you, he's sitting here. He's got bruises. He's bleeding. He's all bandaged up, but he wants the ball."
Yeah.
And they gave it to him, and he knew what to do with it. All right, and we're back. We're back for more highlights. Now we're at the 5A game.
Yes.
You will see number 2 a time or two in these highlights. Ashton Ashford, the junior running back for Ramsey. That's Jaiwan Boyd. As you heard Coach Hambright said, he believes he's the best player in the state in Class 5A. Just a junior, can do everything. Catch it, run it, throw it, run back kicks. He made big play after big play today.
He and Ashton Ashford might see each other again next year.
They very well might. They very well might. Those two teams are well positioned to continue to be championship contenders in Class 5A. And the kicking game was big in this game for Charles Henderson. Kicked a couple of field goals in the first half. There you see one of them. And also a couple of incredible... There he goes again.
Who is that?
It reminds me of what the legendary coach John McKay said when they asked him why he gave one of his USC tailbacks. Why do you give him the ball so often? He said, "It's not that heavy."
Yeah.
Why not? A couple of incredible decisions by Coach Hambright. They called the same onside kick that Alabama used to beat Clemson in the 2015 national championship game, but it was flagged. But it was flagged for interference. I'm not sure why. I didn't see the interference on the play, but that was. And then they also ran a successful fake punt and a fake reverse on the fake punt. Some really well-designed special team trickeration from Charles Henderson. Yes, they did. They didn't leave anything in the bag at all.
And that's how it should be in the state championship game.
Absolutely. And that was the interception right there by Ramsey that really kind of gutted Charles Henderson and snuffed out their last hope, because they didn't have much hope of stopping Ashton Ashford. As you heard in the postgame, as Charles Henderson described, here's the fake punt. Watch it, fake reverse, a little naked bootleg, and you thought, maybe, possibly, could be.
Well, the question in the press conference, why did you struggle in the run game? In run defense, the reason was Ashton Ashford.
That's right.
That's the answer.
That's right. It was inspiring to watch this game.
And that's the second of the second half, the second pick. Both of those were big. But
we saw game-changing interceptions time and again today. So as much offense as there was on the day, an awful lot of big defensive plays as well. And there's the final score: Ramsey 41, Charles Henderson 20.
That looks cool.
The ice bath on an icy night in Auburn, Alabama.
And I bet he didn't feel it.
Retirement planning, investment planning, education planning, ad valorem, blah, 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 blah. Financial planners love to show their version of a perfect retirement, but what about your perfect retirement? At AmFirst Financial, we'll get to know you first, so we can make a plan for the person you'll be years from now, and future you will be glad we planned ahead. So call AmFirst Financial today. You'll thank you later.
Let's look at the highlights from the 4A championship game. Andalusia getting its first title since 1977. Let's go back to the first half. And we knew we were going to see a lot of running game today, didn't we, Coach?
Oh, yeah. They're obviously they're going to put the ball. They're going to run the football, and that's what he said. He said, our identity is to run the football, and they stuck to that. Now, both defensive, hats off to Andalusia defense, hats off to, it was a war the first half, and both teams made the plays at the right time, because in a game, you never know which play is going to be that play. Where Andalusia made some great plays.
That was a big play right there. The first touchdown, they threw that short wide receiver screen, and Caden Dawson took it the distance for the touchdown.
And, you know, we talked about it before the game started. You know, the teams that make the mistakes would be the team that probably would come up on the short end of the stick because the football is the game. And anytime you get down to this point, on this level, on this stage, you're going to have the team that can capitalize on those mistakes.
And there was Jacob Cornejo. You knew that he was going to pound the rock, and he got in the end zone there, and Cherokee County was fighting right back.
I'll tell you what, Dorian Crittenden, if it's one name you remember, is Dorian. Dorian, he's a senior that went out today. Man, he ran with authority.
And that was the other running back, Zarek, scoring that touchdown for the Bulldogs. But Dorian Crittenden was the workhorse, finished the day 31 carries, 246 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and the MVP award. He's the first senior to be an MVP here at the Super 7 this year. We've seen junior after junior, along with the 8th grade quarterback from Thompson, Trent Seaborn.
Well, I tell you what, Dorian Crittenden, the offensive line did a great job. They won the trenches. Like Coach said, they was the first to make contact today. But Dorian Crittenden, and I'll just call him DC, because he ran like a beast today, and I won't be surprised if he ran all the way back to Andalusia.
Let's watch the highlights from the 2A state championship game. First half, Coach, you said B.B. Comer needed to start fast, and they did.
They got up really fast, exactly what they needed to do. They scored on the second play from the line of scrimmage.
Kamari Harris, 67 yards.
What a great play.
A mini prayer in Jordan-Hare for the Red Devils. And then they punched it in. And then turnovers.
Shot themselves in the foot early, got behind, and playing 4 quarters both ways, it's going to wear on you.
And there was Brody Hicks. We'd see a lot more of him from there. Another turnover in special team.
I tell you, the ball rolled Fife way a lot tonight.
That was a big play for B.B. Comer. Richard Weed getting into the end zone, getting behind the defense and breaking a tackle.
They never gave up. They continued to play, It's really tough when you're playing both ways. You got to make great plays, and again, you know, they gave up the ball way too much, and against a good team like Fife, very experienced on this big stage, you got to finish it and play it all the way through the end.
This was an important sequence near the end of the first half. B.B. Comer gets a stop, and then they throw an interception. Fife takes advantage and scores to go to the locker room. Now in the second half, that from Kamari Harris.
What a hit.
Wow.
Very physical, but again, 5 touchdowns on the day. I tell you, he has, 200?
235 yards on 45 carries and 5 touchdowns.
That was an amazing play, too.
But, hey, credit B.B. Comer. They did not lay down. They continued to battle. Tried for a little trickeration there, and it worked.
Made a play. Making a play, still fighting to get back into the ball game. Drive it down, get it punched in, keeping it alive.
And the hope is still there until that hope was extinguished by the running game, by Brody Hicks and the Fife Red Devils doing what they do, winning state championships for the 6th time. Yeah, it's been an incredible week here in Jordan-Hare Stadium, and it showcases the best of the state of Alabama. It showcases the young people.
That's right.
Who put in the work, the things you don't see before the highlights.
Right.
The work that makes the highlights possible when they're working in the summer, when it's not as cold as, it's not like it is now with the wind whipping and cutting through us. It is hot and it is humid, and they're up early in the morning. They're working late at night. For themselves, but not just for themselves, for their teammates, their teams, their communities, as Chris Yeager said.
Yeah, and hats off to all of these coaches, the whole coaching staff, administrators, teachers that were here supporting. I mean, the people that pour into the lives of these young people day in and day out. They don't get enough thank yous, but they were all out here tonight.
They say it takes a village.
Sure does.
And it certainly took a village, on the loveliest village on the plains, to make this a special week.
I 'cause this is the big time. This is the big time. This is the big time, ready, set, go. Work so hard just to make this show. Under the lights, it's time to shine. Get your game face on, 'cause this is the big time. This is the big time, ready, set, go. Work so hard just to make this show. Under the lights, it's time to shine. Get your game face on, 'cause this is the big time. This is the big time.
Retirement planning, investment planning, education planning, ad valorem, blah, 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 blah. Financial planners love to show their version of a perfect retirement, but what about your perfect retirement? At AmFirst Financial, we'll get to know you first, so we can make a plan for the person you'll be years from now, and future you will be glad we planned ahead. So call AmFirst Financial today. You'll thank you later.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Alabama, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.